First tonight on Our News Weekend, the new owners of the Grand Bahama Resort say compensation packages will be available for employees who helped sustain the resort over the years. We'll tell you the details. Plus, another rent-to-own cohort on the way for residents in the capital. This as the housing minister defends funds being pumped into the initiative. And later, through the eyes of an artist, our Danielle Miller highlights the current's latest exhibition telling the story of a Bahamian artist. We've got the details on these stories and so much more as Our News Weekend starts now. This is Our News Weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Megan Shepard. Police in the capital are investigating an early morning traffic accident that left a man dead. Responding officers arrived on Charles Saunders Highway shortly after 5 this morning, where they observed a damaged motorcycle and an unresponsive injured male. It is reported that the victim allegedly lost control and collided with a median. Emergency medical services visited the scene, examined the male, but found no signs of life. Well, as the Grand Bahama Resort is now under new ownership, Concord Wilshire Resort Gaming and Hotel Division CEO Richard Bosworth telling us the company will provide compensation packages for employees as the resort moves to redevelopment. The Davis administration signed a heads of agreement in grand style with executives from the U.S.-based company amid much fanfare just days ago. Bosworth says credit must be given to the employees who kept the resort going all this time.
We need to be sure that those team members that have worked and sustained this property during this time period are well cared for and taken care of. That includes a compensation program for them as we begin the construction and the demolition, and also an open recall so they can come back into their positions at those seniority levels. We need to honor those team members.
U.S.-based company has been developing, constructing, and investing in distinguished real estate assets in major or emerging markets throughout the United States since 1992 and has won awards in the sector. Bosworth stressed the importance of this redevelopment to the Grand Bahamian economy.
We think it's going to have a tremendous impact because of their ability to, enhance the cruise line industry as well. But we're not just focused on that. We're also focused on what this could be from a standpoint of vacation ownership. This beautiful property that we're standing on today and this great backdrop, as well as the hotel product. So we're going to be very focused on that and also hoping to be able to create enough demand that we can increase the airlift into the Grand Bahamas. That's a priority.
The Davis administration securing a buyer for the Grand Bahama Resort on Thursday in Grand Bahama. During the signing ceremony, Prime Minister Philip Davis announcing it's a $227 million project. The administration sold the resort for $120 million to Concord Wilshire. The construction phase is expected to see some 1,300 jobs and 1,750 permanent jobs. Following the signing, a small section of the property was demolished. There was then a grand celebration in the Port Lucaya marketplace, just a short distance away. The marketplace will also be a part of what's to come at the newly redeveloped property. The marketplace saw entertainment with Bahamian artists, a Junkanoo rush out, and the night ended with fireworks. Davis addressing vendors at the marketplace saying he knows it's been a long journey for vendors there, but this move will be beneficial for the entire island.
I've heard the stories, the shop owners who scaled back, the vendors who sold what they could just to buy supplies for another week, the craftspeople who taught themselves to do more with less, the tour operators who drove empty vans, hoping the next day might bring a better one. And yet, through it all, you stayed. You didn't pack up, you didn't give up, you held the line. That kind of strength cannot be bought. It cannot be borrowed. It comes from something deeper, a belief that this island is worth fighting for.
The PM also telling the vendors it was important for him to speak to them.
Because you are not a footnote in this development. You are the center of it. The truth is, no matter how modern the resort, no matter how impressive the hotel rooms, or how beautiful the marina, what visitors remember most is the experience. That experience doesn't come from a brand name. It comes from people like you, the vendors, the artists, the cooks, the musicians, the guides who make Grand Bahama what it is.
Meantime, the housing minister is defending funding pumped into the rent-to-own initiative. This while sharing plans for the project to continue in New Providence. With over 2,500 applicants, he says you can still sign up, adding that they're open to negotiating to help you own your very own home. Our Joshua Williams caught up with the minister outside of the House of Assembly this week and has the details.
Government continuing to push its rent-to-own home initiative here in New Providence and the Family Islands. And with keys given to dozens of residents so far, and with more homes on the way, where are the funds for these projects coming from? That's a question raised by the opposition. But Housing and Urban Renewal Minister Keith Bell says it's a result of good public-private partnerships and budgeting.
We're getting monies from that source. We're getting monies from the government, from our not from our budget. And so we have funds available to us. And in addition to that, even though we know that there are Bahamians who may not necessarily have the deposits, we do have Bahamians who have saved tremendous sums of money. Just this morning, someone came into my office with $150,000 towards a home purchase, cash. Last week, it was the very same thing. And so we're getting substantial deposits in.
As to the questions you may have, how do I apply, and would I have any luck being chosen?
Well, you ought to simply be a Bahamian. Simple as that. We are not turning anyone away. As you know, the government has embarked on its very aggressively the rent-to-own program. And so where persons do not necessarily have the deposit, the down payment, or they may very well not necessarily qualify for a mortgage, we can still put them in a government home. And so we don't want anyone to be turned away. Come in and sit with us. And even if you have heavy debt, let us put you on a path towards home ownership and restructure your debt.
The Davis administration has given away homes here in New Providence and in Abaco, the most recent initiative in Rock Sound, Eleuthera, where 4 families received the keys to their homes in Ocean Hole Estates. So, where to next?
Well, we're coming back to New Providence. We have constructed homes presently in an area called Fire Trail, Pride Estates. It's ongoing in Renaissance at Carmichael. It will be a 300-plus built-out subdivision. You're going to see very soon we're going in Papal Track at Adastra. We're going in Pinecrest behind the East Street South Police Station. We're coming in Vispin Road, off St. Vincent Road in there as well, and other scattered areas where we have pockets of properties in different areas.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks so much, Josh. When Our News Weekend comes back from the break, the third Level Up entrepreneurial training dubbed a success. This iteration focusing on helping young entrepreneurs gain access to funding. This as the Grand Bahama Port Authority is doing its part to help equip their licensees succeed in the nation's second city. We've got the details when Our News Weekend returns.
When we gather big. When our audience expects more, deserves more, we show up even bigger. And when it's showtime, we deliver the greatest show on earth. Because our TV is everywhere, always there when it counts.
The Small Business Development Center, SBDC, partnering with Alive Business and a Member of Parliament for Golden Gate's Pia Glover Roll to host the third Level Up entrepreneurial training. Topics include access to resources, business planning, entrepreneurial growth opportunities, and more. Marketing and Communications Team Lead for the SBDC, Alexia Johnson, shares the initiative.
Level Up does not include a grant component. There's not any access to funding through this initiative. It's focused on the entrepreneurial training. So showing you what you can do with the funding that you may receive, teaching you about these different topics. So today we actually have somebody sharing more about HR, which is really important for business owners. We also have somebody here speaking about legal aid. So just covering a range of topics for entrepreneurs.
This year, they've added a new component, a pitch competition. Area Member of Parliament Pia Glover Roll says she found it important to encourage young people to look beyond seeking out a traditional job or career and push them to put their business ideas on paper.
You hear a lot of young people as I move through the community speak about ideas, but they think it's inaccessible. Usually it's inaccessible because they don't have access to resources. So I thought it as an opportunity to be able to provide them with the resources, to give them the opportunity to build their confidence, because of course to get on a stage and pitch anything in front of a crowd requires some boldness, some confidence, and to allow them to be able to put their thought into a plan.
And as to what led the focus on the youth?
I want to be responsive to the labor market. The labor market says that unemployment is down, but youth unemployment is still at a level that we don't like. That's a little too high. Because maybe some young people don't want to go on a job. Maybe some young people want to do something for themselves, which is venture into entrepreneurship. So this is that opportunity to empower them, to give them the resources that they need for those persons who are thinking about the entrepreneurship pathway as opposed to engaging in a traditional job or career.
Director of B2B Sales at Cable Bahamas Group of Companies, Javier Bo, also offering his own bit of advice to the young entrepreneurs, saying the key is continuous innovation. He shares the importance of this long-term partnership with the SBDC.
We've partnered with them to sponsor every event that they have. And in doing that, we have our salespeople here. We speak at the event talking about our products and services and the best way that businesses can thrive.
The Grand Bahama Port Authority recently hosted a My Grand Bahama Financial and Compliance session designed to better equip licensees with tools to manage their operations successfully. Business Retention Officer at the GBPA, Claudine Pinder, says the session came about following findings from ongoing business wellness checks mandated by the GBPA. She says it was found that there was a need for more support in areas like financial management and compliance. And to address those concerns, the GBPA partnered with key government agencies, including the Department of Inland Revenue and the Customs Department, to ensure business owners get the information they need to thrive.
We had a new amendment to the VAT registration where there's a 5% decrease on VAT as it relates to non-prepared food items. So it was good to have them in the room to expand on these topics, allow the licensees an opportunity to ask questions and find out firsthand, so they don't have to hear it from the neighbor, they don't have to hear it from the person next door. They got it from the experts today. And that is what the Grand Bahama Port Authority is about. We're about supporting our licensees, and this is just one way that we do it, by bringing them together, bringing all the relative authorities and agencies in one place to provide that vital information that our licensees need.
Senior Customs Revenue Officer in the Bonds Division, Michelle Walker, explained what was shared with attendees.
The disposal of bonded goods, the manner in which you would have to write in, perhaps, to dispose of those goods. So you can either write in for destruction, for export of those goods, duty payment, or transferring of those goods. And another thing that was touched on today was the fact that the manner in which goods are canceled, one of the processes involved in cancellation of the license. So those were some of the things that we touched on today, as well as those persons who are entitled to those for the acquisition of those bonded goods, which would be basically the licensees here in the Freeport area. They can make application for a bond to the Customs Department.
All right, well, more than just sun, sand, and sea, the current ad Bahamar has an objective to highlight local artisans from throughout the community, exposing their undeniable talents to a broader local audience while alluring guests to all we have to offer outside of the traditional tourist offerings. Thursday evening, our Danielle Miller attended the kickoff of Transforming Spaces 2025, where they debuted a collection of art by a famed local impressionist painter. Take a look.
Art lovers coming together at the current gallery in Bahamar to celebrate the official unveiling of Sepia. It's an exhibition curated by Ricardo Knowles, better known as Cardo. The striking artwork endearing all in the space, welcomed by rhythmic sounds of a live jazz band and an assortment of spirited beverages. Guests browsed Cardo's latest portraits featuring a palette of black, white, and reddish-brown. Curatorial manager at the current art gallery, Averia Wright, sharing the moment that inspired Cardo's latest collection.
So last year we showed Ricardo's show Urban Light, and so one of the pieces was Moonshine, which was similar to this palette that he's using right now in sepia, and it was crazy because everybody wanted to have that one painting, and I was like, Ricardo, we need to do a show again.
The color contrast of each painting, boldly depicting their individual representations of the artist's personal life and lineage.
He was happy to tell kind of like the story of this connection that he had with his sister. So you see her in several of the paintings. Then a couple other ones with family, and there's a piece called Barbara's Box, and he's talking about his dad saying that this box is for Barbara, and nobody were to touch it, but basically make sure the box gets to Barbara. And so it's like a lot of like little family anecdotal stories that he is telling, but also he recently traveled to Japan, and so you see some of the Japanese influence.
And if you're wondering how to get your hands on one of Ricardo's work of art,
so we do have an online platform, current.bahama.com, and then you can reach me, avria.wright@bahama.com, or you can just come in to the Current or go on our website.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
All right, thanks so much, Danielle. Still to come on Our News Weekend, it's a story we teased to you earlier this week. Our Danielle Miller takes us inside the newest Thai restaurant here in Paradise, Koswan. She has the reviews in just a bit, but first...
Jonquel Jones makes a regular season debut, and the Mingos hit the links for a good cause. We'll talk about all that next on our Sports Weekend.
My name is Trevor Williams. I've been a Live Fiber customer since March 2024. The installation process was seamless, effortless, and extremely fast. The gentlemen that came to the installation were very helpful, reliable, very knowledgeable, and the time allocated to do the installation was shorter than the time specified. Yeah, the previous provider I had, I noticed that the internet speed actually had intermittent on my services, so I was very grateful that the live fiber was available in my area. Once I was able to make the switch, my service and everything I needed was satisfied. My favorite feature would actually be being able to add any apps from the Play Store. It's just basically making any dumb TV a smart TV. I do a lot of back-end support, engineering support, helping clients working remotely when I'm from home. The internet is a very important aspect of my job and my life. My name is Trevor Williams, and the future is home with a live fiber.
Good evening, welcome to our Sports Weekend. I'm Tej Adderley. It's been a long off season, but the wait is finally over. Jonquel Jones and the New York Liberty returned to the court to defend their WNBA title earlier this afternoon. Here's how they did. Jonquel Jones and the New York Liberty started off this season the same way they ended the last one, with a win. After hoisting the franchise's first ever championship banner and receiving their rings, the Liberty opened the season with a 92-78 win over the Las Vegas Aces. JJ had 17 points on 6 of 12 shooting from the field, a team-high 10 rebounds and 6 assists. She also had 2 blocks and 3 steals, anchoring a Liberty defense that held the Aces to 34% shooting for the game. Also for the Liberty, Brianna Stewart had 25 points and 8 rebounds to lead the team, and the team's newest addition, Natasha Cloud, had 22 points and 9 rebounds. JJ had her hands full guarding unanimous MVP Asia Wilson of the Aces, who had 33 points and 16 rebounds, but despite her big night, the Liberty led for most of the game. Now, JJ and the Liberty will have a few days to rest, then they're back on the court against the Chicago Sky on Thursday. The WNBA season is a marathon, not a sprint, and we will be there every step of the way, so be sure to follow us for the latest updates. Now over to the links. The University of the Bahamas sports programs have afforded young Bahamians the opportunity to gain an education through sports. The Mingos will host their inaugural golf tournament at the Royal Blue Club tomorrow. The first ever UB Golf Invitational tees off tomorrow at Royal Blue Club in Cable Beach. The Invitational serves as a fundraiser for the Ascendant program while showcasing its talented roster of golfers. The Mingos will compete alongside local pros and amateurs for an exciting array of prizes. Several prominent Bahamian businesses, most notably Leno Financial, Fidelity, Tireflex, Star Motors, Caribbean Bottling, and Bahamar, have stepped up to sponsor the tournament. Tireflex is even giving away a Mercedes C-Class to the lucky golfer who can hit a hole-in-one on 12. The tournament will begin shotgun style at 2 p.m. sharp. The UB Athletics program is coming together nicely, and this is just another step in their progress. Well, that's a wrap for sports this evening. For Our Sports Weekend, I'm Tage Adderley. We'll do this again tomorrow night.
Thanks so much, Tage. On the other side of this break, we check in with meteorologist Ian McKenzie. He's got a look at temperatures we can expect for the remainder of the weekend. Stick with us.
When we gather big. When our audience expects more, deserves more, we show up even bigger. And when it's showtime, we deliver the greatest show on earth. Because our TV is everywhere, always there when it counts.
Welcome back, and thanks for sticking with us. Beautiful weather on the outside of our studios today. As to what you can expect for the remainder of the weekend, well, meteorologist Ian McKenzie has those answers. Ian.
Thanks, Megan, and good evening, Bahamas. Welcome to your Saturday evening forecast. Another gorgeous day across the country, however, a hot one. Currently outside our studios, we're under mostly clear skies with a temperature of 82. Winds are from the east-northeast at 10 miles per hour. Feels like at 85. Still muggy out there. Temperatures across the country at this time. We have 83 in Freeport, 80 in Marsh Harbor, 81s in Allenstown, Great Harbor Key, and in Governor's Harbor, as well as Nicholstown, 82 in the capital. Central Bahamas continue with those 82s in Camps Bay, 81s in Black Point, Georgetown, Deadman's Key, Port Nelson, a pair of 80s in Arthurstown, and in Coburn Town, San Salvador. Southeast Bahamas, we have 81s in Duncantown, Delectable Bay, and in Abrahams Bay, Maguana, 80 in Colonel Hill, and a pair of 82s in Matthewtown, and in Providenciales, Turks and Caicos. Satellite and radar imagery at this time, we have a broad area of high pressure across us. This is suppressing any type of cloud development. We do have some high clouds moving over us that should continue to clear out throughout the course of the night. Beautiful conditions expected. Boating conditions also on the gorgeous side in the northwest Bahamas. Southerly winds at 10 knots. That is creating some heat across us. Seas 1 to 3 feet. High tide at 12:06 a.m. tomorrow morning. Low tide at 6:42 a.m. Central and southeast Bahamas, again, beautiful conditions. Winds east to southeast 10 to 15. Seas 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Here's a look at your national forecast. And in your extended forecast, high pressure will continue to dominate. Clear skies, but warm to hot temperatures. We're looking at mid to upper 80s into the 90s by the end of the week as another cold front pushes through our area. Some showers or thunderstorm activity expected by about Friday, mainly across the northwest and extreme northwest islands. Elsewhere, those low temperatures only getting up, struggling to meet the mid 70-degree mark. That's a wrap on your evening forecast. Have a great, safe, good night, everyone.
Thanks, Ian. Looking for a restaurant to ignite your taste buds with cuisines from another country? We visited a new dining experience that recently opened at Atlantis Paradise Island Resort. Our Danielle Miller gives this review.
I love Bahamas so much.
Nice. Now, I have to, Xavier, please make sure that Chef is taking fishing before he leaves. And also, I wish you could go crabbing. Did they tell you about crabbing?
Oh, no, I don't know that.
Born in Bangkok, Thailand, award-winning chef Ian Kitashai fell in love with the islands of the Bahamas during his time working as a chef for a hotel chain in Exuma. In honor of his love for both his home country and the Bahamas, he recently opened the doors to Koswan Restaurant, a restaurant located in the Cove, Atlantis Paradise Island. With exquisite lighting and scenic views, the premier restaurant offers foodies a menu of modern Thai dishes that are rooted in tradition with a slight Bahamian flair, which takes diners on a culinary journey.
When you're traveling into different countries, you actually have to know their culture, because you learn from the culture and you know exactly what the culture like, and then you start to creating the menu for the local people, because of what that they are your fan, they're your support.
Chef Ian boasts each dish is presented family style with vibrant starters from aromatic soups to bold, soulful courses and delicate desserts, all of which we got to taste. Packed with flavors and superb service, we were not the only ones singing Koswan's praises.
Second, I tasted both of our dishes. I literally jumped out of my seat. It was so good. I ordered the lobster, my wife ordered short rib, and I have never tasted anything so good in my life.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
Looks absolutely amazing. Thanks so much, Denny. And with that, we thank you for joining us for our news weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepherd. Have a safe and wonderful evening. Hey guys, Megan Shepherd here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Just click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so you stay up to date with content like this from the team you already trust.